Good morning, traders. Welcome to Beyond Profile. Today is Friday, March 4th, 2011, and we've just received our unemployment report out, 8.9, pretty much in line for what the market was expecting. Yesterday's rally in the markets kind of already had this built into it. We get a little bit of selling pressure here, and but we're coming back to the bottom of the balance areas in these equity markets. The euro, 140. There it is this morning. We've been talking about 140 in a swing position for quite some time, and it's finally there at 140. And actually, responsive sellers came in pretty strong. And we'll look at that chart in just a moment. The bonds still imbalanced, 2020s. We saw the support areas of demand at 118.12. We saw the volume shift last night just before the close, and as I said, that one this morning, if you were watching, actually had given a long entry off of that area for a bounce. So the bond's still inside of balance area here. Let's go look at the S&P. All right, yesterday a big move on the gap up outside of the 16 to 18 area. It actually gapped up over, and it was a gap and go day. It was never even looked back at all during the day. We probed over the pivot highs in the Globex session here. That was that 1333 number we were looking at yesterday. We've probed it several times overnight. And you can see here, even on the formation of this candle right now, all we've done is come back down to yesterday's point of control here at the 2750 number on the S&P. One of the things with the ES market right here is if we look at the developing value area here, let's see if and yesterday's move up, what you see is a balanced trading area up here. We've got a short-term acceptance. We actually held in here all night, and the market really hasn't been knocked out of this. This will lead to an imbalanced state, all right? And when it does, which direction? If we obviously break below the 28 number here and we get follow-through, then they could open up the door. There's really not much in the way of anything here until we get all the way back down against these 16s to 18s right here on the S&P market. So looking at that, you could say, wow, that could be a 15-plus move down if we break this balance area. And yeah, that's correct. All right. Same thing would apply this morning is if they come back down to these areas and they probe there and there's no follow-through, and we get a rejection of these lows, then we have to look for it to make and retest the highs of the Globex session again. So the market's right here, no major reaction, all right, after the unemployment report. We got a little bit of selling pressure, but we're coming right back down to where we were in the overnight session against yesterday's point of control in the S&P in the day session. So there's really no earth-shattering events here yet. And the NASDAQ looks the same way. The only thing different about the NASDAQ was the push that it made yesterday. Let's look at that daily. Here's the NASDAQ daily yesterday, and again, gap up, strong move, right up over actually the prior highs here that we've seen before. There's actually a gap on the regular session chart up in this area for the NASDAQ, which is right around, let me give you those numbers. A technical gap is way up back at actually 2395 area, 2395. So it's way up in this area here on just the regular session. And you can actually see it here on this chart too. This is actually a 24-hour running chart. Last night we probed a little bit higher here. We got some naked point of controls up here on the daily time frame from the market that's left over here. And it's the same situation here. I mean, when you look at the 30-minute time frame, we have the same thing here with the NASDAQ overnight. It's it's a balanced trade. It just came back down actually a minute ago here, back down to the 69, 68 area, and they're trying to hold on and defend this area down here. So balanced trade. Balance leads to imbalanced state. That imbalanced state could be either direction here, just like we saw in the S&P. It could be either direction. Obviously, they've just tested the lows, so one would have to believe we're going to go back up and retest the highs now as we auction back and forth within this balance area. There's no major surprises here. Okay, the market's got what they wanted as far as the job number. No earth-shattering news there. So what's going to propel this market to go higher? Well, the perception that maybe with the unemployment down below 9% now is that we can continue to our uptrend here on the daily and continue to move higher. All right, we'll let the market dictate that. So far, what I'm seeing is they're defending these unfair lows down here, 68, 69s on the NASDAQ, and these 20s. What's the number here on the S&P? The 28s on the S&P. They're defending that. So both of those areas this morning already pre-market, we've come back down. Now if we break through them, obviously all bets are off. The NASDAQ, the same thing. This can drop right down to the 43 level. It's got a lot of room to the downside. and it could go just as quickly as we went up yesterday. It can come as quickly down. And remember, it always seems like it wants to go down faster than it ever goes up, because grinding yesterday higher always makes it difficult, because you have a trend up day and it just grinds. And yesterday we didn't even see a pullback during the end of during the lunch period. I usually like to see some sort of a drifting down and to the right, if you will, during lunch, and we got none of that yesterday. It was just a grind all the way up. And the interesting thing too is that we did not close yesterday outside of those prior pivot highs on the daily charts. So anyway, good trading today, folks. It's Friday. Wait for this imbalanced state, trade in the direction of that, and if we break, we trade it down. If we break to the top side, we trade it up. Either way, balance leads to imbalance. That's all you need to remember. All right, have a good trading day. We'll see you in the room.